Hello again, and welcome back to YN Adventures. This is part 2 of Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles. If you haven't watched part 1, please go watch that first part, or go go read the first 3 chapters yourself. We're picking back up on chapter 4. Yeah, the drill. You know it. Don't send hate. Don't go after this account that's been abandoned for the last 12 years. We're just here to have fun. Okay, chapter 4. When the delicious, filling dinner had ended, Harry wiped some last tasty cookie crumbs from the side of his mouth. He was very full and very tired. Discovering the truth with a capital T, being saved, and coming to Hogwarts, it had certainly been a long day for this little one. Stop calling them little ones. You're freaking me out. You look like you could use a good night's sleep, the Reverend's wife commented daintily. How would you like to move into your dormitory? I would love to, Harry cried cheerfully. He was so excited to become a student here, and he was so grateful for the opportunities the Lord had given him. Sometimes people who have done without are the most grateful. Hermione, why don't you show our newest student to the dormitory? Dumbledore suggested wisely. I'd love to, Father, Hermione replied obediently with an innocent girlish smile, and got to her feet and smoothed out the skirt of her becoming pink frock. Should I clean the kitchen first? I can take care of that tonight, the Reverend's wife answered indulgently. So we can ask God to zap in some food, but we can't ask him to clean the kitchen. And she was already beginning to clear the elegant porcelain dishes. Thank you, Mommy, Hermione shouted gratefully, and she walked over to Harry. Would you please come with me? Harry blushed shyly and got to his feet. His aunt had never taught him how to talk to pretty girls. Well, he's 11, so why would she have done that? She always said that pretty girls were shallow and not very smart, and that a real woman put her career first and didn't care about her looks. But it only took one look at this godly young girl to realize just how wrong that was. A woman taking pride in her appearance is honoring the Lord, because, after all, it is the Lord who gave her a pretty face and nice hair. Taking care of that is important. Harry got the feeling that Hermione was as beautiful on the inside as she was on the outside. Not super loving that we're obsessing over the looks of an 11-year-old girl. I know this is satire. We all know this is satire. But that's just creepy in any context. The two little ones stepped out into the brisk, chilly night, and for a few minutes they were both silent. Harry did not think it was possible for this sweet, demure girl to be as nervous as he was, but going by the silence, perhaps she was a little nervous herself. So does Ron not exist in this world? After a few minutes, Hermione welcomed shyly. Welcome to Hogwarts. It is a wonderful place, and we really are so glad to have you here. Harry's face reddened as they crossed an expansive, flowery field. They were going in the direction of a cluster of imposing, stone, academic-looking buildings. Thank you, he muttered happily. It is beautiful, and it feels very holy. Holier than SpongeBob. It is, Hermione commented enthusiastically, and her chocolate-colored, carefully curled tresses were bouncing along with her steps. My father is a very godly man, and to spread the word of the Lord is his greatest dream. Truly, that is a noble dream, Harry responded gravely with wisdom beyond his few years. They walked for a few more minutes in silence. Eventually, they reached the end of the lovely green meadow. The boys' dormitory is this way, Hermione exposited knowingly. And, with the innocent, casual affection so often found in children, she grabbed Harry's hand as she led him around the edifice of classrooms. Harry was so nervous, he could not think of anything to say. His brain fumbled for the perfect Christian thing to say. But, before he could even manage a word, Hermione came to a stop in front of a tall stone tower. This is the boys' dormitory, the devout young woman explained kindly, and she gestured to the heavy oak door beside them. I would show you inside, but I would hate to cause a scandal. Well, you guys are 11, so I don't think that would happen. I understand, Harry declared graciously. Too many young men these days pressure young women into things undesired and forbidden. It is the true... Hold on. It is the mark of a true old-fashioned gentleman to respect the fact that every young woman is another man's future wife. Hang on. And we all know that it would be a dreadful, terrible sin to bring another man's wife into intimacy. Intimacy? They're 11! Why does modern culture suddenly treat that as okay simply because he does not have her yet? What the fuck? Men's laws may permit it, but the laws of the Lord are not bound by time. Hermione moved to push open the imposing large door, but she struggled with the knob. It was quite a heavy door. But Harry was a good, devout Christian now. He would not have a young, godly girl struggling to open a door which he was perfectly capable of opening himself. Grace Ann, did your husband not open the door for you at the Olive Garden? With the simple faith so often seen in little ones, Harry got down on his knees and lifted his hands skyward and shouted prayerfully, "Dear Lord, please open these doors and allow me to enter my new home." With a loud, thunderous boom that echoed throughout the expansive, beautiful campus, the doors crashed open as Hermione's jaw dropped. Now she knew for certain that this was truly a man of the Lord. Harry was about to step inside when Hermione grabbed his arm. He blushed once more. "Wait, Harry!" Hermione uttered quickly. "There's something you should know." "What is it?" Harry queried questioningly. "My father says that dark times are coming." Hermione spoke worriedly. "There's a man named Voldemort who wants to destroy all that we stand for. He's pushing an agenda in Congress, which will stop us from practicing our faith freely." "But that is what our founding fathers built this nation for!" Harry cried indignantly. "Oh, the freedom of religion!" "Voldemort doesn't care," Hermione remarked sadly, and she shook her head. "And he is gaining power. The freedom of Christians to practice our faith is disappearing by the day. Soon it will be like it was in Rome." Lovely ladylike tears began to roll down her delicate, terrified face. "And I don't like lions." "It will be all right," Harry reassured manfully. "We will just need to pray really, really hard. That's why we're here, after all." "You're so brave," Hermione pronounced admiringly, and she wiped the tears from her eyes. She flung her arms around Harry's neck. "Thank you for giving me courage." Harry patted her head before departing and entering his new home. It wasn't until the doors had closed behind him that he realized that he did not know where he was supposed to sleep. The tower consisted of an old stone staircase, winding up the steep, sacred walls. There were doors leading into each bedroom off of the stairway corridor. Harry felt lost for a moment, but a quick prayer showed him the way. As he collapsed onto his bed, very tired from such an eventful day, he thought about the days that were coming. It was truly a good thing that the Lord had called him when he did. I love that we're in Britain, and we're just worried. We're really worried about Congress right now. Chapter 5. Harry Potter woke up drowsily in a comfy, fluffy mattress. He's in the mattress. It was only now that he had the energy to observe his surroundings. The room was small, but also everything a little boy needed. There was a big, warm fire-space place in the gray stone wall across from him, a shelf of intelligent, age-appropriate books. The Holy Bible was in the center of the shelf, of course, and there was a simple wooden dresser of respectable school-appropriate attire, and of course a clean porcelain sink for washing up and brushing teeth and such. It was only then that our hero noticed that there was another bed in the room. It was the same as his own bed, except that this other bed had not been made. Also, this bed had its own Bible in it. What? And it looked different from the one on the shelf. But where was this new roommate of his? Harry looked behind him to see a small, pallid young boy with shockingly bright red hair kneeling with seeming piety as he prayed to a small statue. At this shocking sight, Harry felt a horror. But he quickly composed himself and declared bravely, "Hello, friend. My name is Harry Potter, and I take it that we are roommates. What's your name?" "Ronald Weasley." The other boy responded friendlily. Friendlily. And he reached out a hand to shake. "Welcome to Hogwarts. I am a Christian too." "Really?" Harry exclaimed delightedly and clasped his hands together. This is joyous news." "Ronald, are we just going to call him Ronald the entire time?" Ronald smiled deviously, and Harry remembered that he had just seen this boy praying to a statue, and he wondered why that would be. But he was new to this whole Christianity thing, and maybe that was okay. Still, it didn't feel quite right. He bravely resolved to bring it up. He bravely resolved to bring it up with Dumbledore. That sure is a whole bunch of words he typed together. would you like to come with me to breakfast?" Ronald queried politely, as he got up from the statue he had been kneeling in front of. "They have delicious food here in the Great Hall." "Would I ever?" Harry cried delightedly. And he bolted out of bed, and brushed his teeth, and washed his face. This little one certainly had a healthy appetite. In a jiffy, Harry and his new friend had joined the stream of young lads on the steep, winding stairs, heading to breakfast. They could smell the aroma of breakfast from the Great Hall, and it wafted right into their noses. Before they knew it, they were all sitting in the Great Hall. "Come sit with me and my family." "So the entire families just come and live here?" Ronald offered eagerly, and he motioned frantically toward a table packed full of people, with hair just as red as his. "Come on, come on, come on, come on. I can't wait for them to see that I have made a new friend." Harry followed Ronald with the obedience of one who does not have many friends in a new situation. Oh, what a difficult circumstance that can be, and how many believers have been led astray by those situations. "Guys, guys, guys," Ronald screeched joyously, as he pulled Harry toward the table of his family. "This is Harry Potter, and he is my new roommate." "Hello, Harry," the Weasleys chorused in unison. "Welcome to Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles." "Hello," Harry stammered shyly. Something about this group made him nervous. "Nice to meet you." He sat down at their table. He could smell a delicious breakfast. But where was the food? No sooner had the thought crossed his mind when the Reverend Dumbledore came into the Great Hall stage. He dropped down to his knees and raised his hands skyward and screamed, "Dear Lord, please provide these devout young ones with 3 strips of bacon or links of sausage each, 2 for the ladies. Bitch. A bowl of hearty oatmeal flavored with cinnamon and apple chunks, 2 poached eggs cooked all the way through, home fries seasoned with garlic, a glass each of orange juice and milk, and dishes up to the task." This, using God like a drive-thru, is kind of killing me. I do kind of love this mechanic. Harry was once again amazed to see the food appear in front of him. The food looked and smelled amazing. He suspected good old Minerva had something to do with this delicious spread, but before he dug into the food, he remembered that he had something to discuss with the Reverend. Harry fought his nervousness, and he ran after Dumbledore as he hopped off the stage. "Excuse me," the young believer cried innocently as he ran after the Reverend as fast as his little legs could carry him. "Excuse me, Reverend." "What is it, son?" the Reverend reiterated kindly. He was dressed respectfully in sturdy, manly jeans and a red, white, and blue plaid shirt. Ugh. Over which... Oh my god, why? And a pair of admirable brown cowboy boots. "Are you settling in all right?" "I sure am," Harry retorted graciously. "How are things with your family?" "Very well," replied Dumbledore knowledgeably. And he was impressed with this little one's manners. "Was there something you wanted to talk to me about?" "Well," Harry began uncomfortably, and he scuffed his blue-sneakered foot against the polished wood floor of the Great Hall. "I woke up this morning and saw my roommate praying to a statue. Is that really an okay thing to do?" "That is a real toughie," Dumbledore answered ponderously. "Well, I don't worship idols. It is, in fact, a very unchristian thing to do. But you see, here at Hogwarts, we divide ourselves up into sorting hats. After breakfast, all the new little ones will choose their hats. Each of the different hats have different beliefs." "What? But we all love the Lord." "And what more in common do you need?" That does sound true," Harry pondered sensitively. "But is it really? It seems that if we all really love the Lord, we don't need to divide ourselves. Are the divisions between the different hats really so significant as to merit dividing Christianity? What are these divisions?" "Well, they are somewhat significant," Dumbledore allowed tentatively. "For instance, I am a Gryffindor hat. We believe everything in the Bible, and only the Bible. That red-headed roommate of yours is a Slytherin hat." "And Slytherins worship statues?" Harry queried innocently. The Reverend nodded gravely. "Then how are they Christian?" Harry queried skeptically. "Oh my god, what about Exodus 10:4-6? That's a 10 commandment." Girly Pop. Bad bitch, 24/7. "Well, they have different commandments," Dumbledore explained well-meaningly. "They love the Lord, then. That is all we need." "But do they really love the Lord?" Harry voiced timidly. "If they do, then why do they worship statues?" "Dark days are coming," Dumbledore replied earnestly. "We need to be inclusive. If there were only Gryffindor hats at Hogwarts, then there would not be many people left." "I see," Harry conceded uncertainly as he walked back to Ronald's overcrowded table. He was getting nervous about this hat business. But he supposed he did have to trust Dumbledore. After all, grown-ups know best, right? Chapter 6. Harry Potter walked back to the table of redheads. It was only now that he noticed that they were all wearing black and green baseball caps with snakes on them. Tentatively, Harry sat down next to Ronald, who was not wearing a hat, since he, like Harry, was new. Then how did Dumbledore know he was a Slytherin? Get out of my house. So, Harry began nervously, and he bit into a thick, juicy slice of perfectly fried bacon. What sorting hat do you think you will choose? You will chose. Oh, I will definitely choose Slytherin, Ronald declared confidently, and he began to eat his oatmeal with his hands. Sorry. My whole family is Slytherins. He gestured to the countless redheads sitting at the table, and they all turned to Harry and smiled and waved. You should become a Slytherin too. We could do it together. Harry uttered ponderously, and he took a bite of eggs. Why don't you tell me about what Slytherins believe? Sure, Ronald replied ecstatically, as he kept eating his oatmeal. Well, first of all, we believe in the Bible. That is wonderful, Harry reacted happily, and he took a sip of his orange juice. I do as well. Perhaps I could be a Slytherin after all. But wait, that is not all, Ronald continued excitedly, and washed his oatmeal down with milk. Gryffindor hats believe in the Bible too, but Slytherins have even more. We have a book full of guidelines on how to be a good person, and a whole panel of Slytherin hats to tell us what to do. Hey, girl. Harry furrowed his innocent, childish brow, and he took another bite of oatmeal. And he questioned confusedly, why do you need all that if you have the Bible? Ronald guffawed. Ronald guffawed sounds like a really good name to put on a fake ID, by the way. Just throwing that out there. And he shoveled more oatmeal into his mouth, and he replied, why only have the Bible when you can have more? Why, that would be like only praying to God. Harry gasped in horror as he bit into more bacon. Of course I only pray to God. Who else would I pray to? What about Mary? Ronald voiced it angrily around a mouthful of oatmeal. You have to... You have to at least worship to her. You mean the mommy of our Lord? Harry demanded in scandal, and he chewed his bacon. I don't worship her? ? Well, then God hates you, Ron stated simply, and pieces of bacon flew out of his mouth as he did so. Harry was tentative, since he was new to this whole Christianity thing, but he did not think God would hate him for not worshipping his mommy. On the contrary, he had a hunch that God only wanted people to worship him. Don't listen to him, commented a drowsy voice, half-righteously, from behind Harry. Harry turned around, and he saw a girl about his own age. Her pale yellow hair was tied into braids, and she wore a tie-dye shirt, and faded jeans, and flowers in her hair. Peace signs and donkey patches were strewn all over her clothes. You should not become a Slytherin hat, the girl continued confidently, and she was eating what looked like it was supposed to be bacon, but it did not smell or taste like bacon. It missed that smoky, meaty taste that bacon is supposed to have. Instead, it tasted like vegetables blended together and dyed red. Yuck! Harry would take real bacon over that any day of the week. They are far too strict. Harry hummed skeptically. He was not sure about this whole Slytherin business, but the word strict was not what came to mind. You should become a Hufflepuff hat, the girl instructed arrogantly, and continued to nibble at her breakfast. That's what I'm going to do. What do Hufflepuff hats believe in? Harry pondered aloud, and he took a bite of his real bacon. Oh, how he wanted to find the true hat. The true hat! Hufflepuff hats believe in the Bible, but only some of it. Luna exclaimed. Oh, this is Luna. Hi, Luna. The fuck are you doing here? Luna explained casually. And she was still feeding on that stuff. God, we got a hater. We got Harry the hater on our hands. We don't believe in the stuff against fornication and drinking and socialism. I need a t-shirt that just says, I heart socialism. But we really like Matthew 7:1. Yeah, girl, buy one, get one. And that's about it. We're really fun and we seem really nice and really tolerant as long as you agree with us. That was when a derisive laugh echoed throughout the cafeteria. A smug-looking young man about Harry's age with slicked-back hair, even paler blonde than Luna's, and wearing a sweater vest and khakis, strolled languidly down between the rows of tables. Please ignore this fool, Draco drawled smugly. Luna here thinks she can have a career even though she's a woman, and women are stupid. This is fucking killing me. Harry gaped at this horrible person. What a mean thing to say. Women shouldn't not have careers because women are stupid, Harry shouted indignantly. Women are not stupid at all. Women should not have careers because women are nurturing and loving and their gifts serve them best in the home. I've heard this fucking argument in real life. I'm gonna have an aneurysm at my desk. Draco gasped tentatively. You are diluting the truth. Women are beneath men. No, I'm not, Harry fired back bravely. Ah, trans Harry, it's all come full circle. You are twisting the truth so you can be mean with it. Women are not beneath men. Men and women are just different. Luna smiled at him gratefully. Draco was clearly fumbling for ground here. There's not much ground to stand on when you are being hateful. But he finally came up with, well, at least I don't eat with Slytherin hats. I hate Slytherins. Ronald began to cry into his oatmeal. I don't hate Slytherin hats, Harry declared boldly. I think they should become Gryffindor hats. But that is because I love them. Besides, the Lord ate with sinners all the time. Thank you, Harry, Ronald whispered tearfully. Girl, he just called you a sinner. Leave the table. Well, you should just become a Ravenclaw hat, like me, Draco sputtered blisteringly. We really are the best hat. I think you mean, we really are the most hateful hat, Harry corrected cleverly. And then he jumped up onto the table, and he got down on his knees, and he raised his hands to the ceiling of the Great Hall, and he bellowed, Dear Lord, I have made my decision. I am a Gryffindor hat. Chapter 7. The Great Hall burst into applause as a red and yellow baseball cap with a lion embroidered on the front appeared on Harry's head. He hopped deftly off the table and landed on his little feet. He could feel the love of the Lord surging through him, and he knew he had made the right decision. How did he know how the sorting hat thing even worked? Nobody explained it to him. Oh, God. He was even more sure of his decision when Hermione dashed across the cafeteria to give him a big, spontaneous hug. She, too, was sporting a red and yellow baseball cap, although her cap had a kitten on it instead of a lion. I'm so happy, Harry, she cried gladly, delicate tears streaming down her face. When I saw you eating with that family, I was so scared. I thought you might become a Slytherin. Never worry about that, Harry declared boldly and bravely. I'm a Gryffindor now and forever. Well chosen, Dumbledore declared approvingly as he took long, energetic strides across the crowded, noisy room. He's fucking jogging. Welcome to the Gryffindor hat, Harry. Harry beamed happily. Truly, he had been blessed. As he sat down to finish his breakfast, and he was still glowing from joy, he sat back next to Ronald. Will you still be my friend, even though you wear a different hat? Ronald asked timidly. Of course, Harry declared generously, and he began to eat his eggs. He had expected his eggs to be cold by now, what with all the hullabaloo, but lo and behold, they were still piping hot. He would not pretend that what Ronald believed about worshipping the... What the fuck? He would not pretend that what Ronald believed about worshipping the dead. Huh? But he could still offer the young boy friendship in the spirit of Matthew 2:16-17. Girl, Merry Christmas, 12:25. Thank you, Harry, Ronald uttered happily. He may have been sporting a green and black hat with a snake on it, which testified to his Slytherin beliefs, but he could recognize Harry's pure-hearted godliness, generosity, humility, and innocent goodness. He looked around at his siblings, all of them wearing hats identical to his, and he wondered why none of them were like that. Oh my god. Attention, students, Reverend Dumbledore announced authoritatively as he hopped onto the stage. He's hopping a lot. He's got like a really long gray beard. He's an older gentleman, and yet he's hopping and he's jogging and he's probably going to do some backflips. Who knows? And he held the microphone by his mouth. Where we get a microphone? Congratulations on picking your hats, he continued kindly. I am sure you have all chosen wisely. Harry hummed to himself. He knew that the Reverend meant well, but was it really doing the members of the other hats much good to tell them that everything was the same when it wasn't? Wouldn't they all be happier if they knew to read the Bible and take it seriously? Dumbledore thought he was making everyone happy, and perhaps he was in the short run, but in the long run, Harry worried that he was doing more harm than good. Harry did not say anything, because he was new to the flock and didn't feel confident in his connection to the lore. But sometimes it takes newcomers to point out the flaws we don't see in our own communities. The Reverend clapped his hands against each other once, and then he spoke enthusiastically. Now, you will be sharing most of your classes with other members of your hat, so it would be good for you to get to know them now. Ravenclaw hats, please gather around Mr. Moody. Hufflepuff hats, please gather around Mr. Sprout. What happened to... Oh, yeah. We hate women in this world. Slytherin hats, please gather around Mr. Finnegan. And Gryffindor hats, please gather around Mr. Snape. Oh my god. Oh my god. A running joke in my house is that I call Snape Mr. Snape because I don't think that he has a doctorate. You know, I don't think that he's a professor. I don't think he went to school for that. You know, I don't think he has a degree. I think they all just go to Hogwarts and there is no, like, wizard college. He doesn't have a degree. He's not a professor. He's Mr. Snape. Mr. Snape to me. Help. Now, at the beginning of the breakfast meal, Harry had noticed a tall, mysterious-looking man with dark hair, with long dark hair, and gaunt, enigmatic features. Yeah, there are many features, and figures, and whatever. He was dressed stylishly in a crisp black suit, and his tie made a shock of... What? and his tie made a shock of red in the otherwise totally black outfit. He's dressed like Gerard Way. The dark hair on his pale chest was neatly trimmed, but still noticeably thick. And he wore elegant black leather shoes on both of his feet. And it was now that he looked... Oh my god. And it was now that he noticed that on the table that this man was sitting at, there was a placard that said on it, Mr. Snape. Harry followed the other brave young children wearing Gryffindor hats. Oh my god, the description of the chest hair on every single adult man is making me die. I'm suffering for my soup over here. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, bye.